Hello and welcome to 360 Sports on Trust TV. I am Emmanuel Fashimi. Those were some beautiful highlight moments, goals of the month in the just concluded EPL, that is the English Premier Football League 2023-2024 league season. We saw those fantastic and great goals coming in from April, October, what have you, right there in the English Premier League. On that note, I'll welcome you to the program proper this lovely morning, and we'll be looking at stories making the rounds in Nigeria and other parts of the world, Africa and other continents also. But we know how we normally do it on the show. We start from the home front. We start with Nigerian stories. We'll talk about them. We'll talk about our sportsmen and sportswomen, what they are doing when it comes to the world of sports. Yes, of course, you know, when it comes to the world of sport, Nigeria is not a pushover. And we'll be starting from Accra, Ghana this morning, where that game was supposed to happen yesterday between the Nigerian under-17 team, the Wafubi under-17 tournament going on in Accra, Ghana. That game was supposed to happen yesterday, but the game was postponed to this morning as we speak. That game has kicked off. It's kick-off time, and we can tell you categorically clear that that game is into the third minutes of action right there at the Accra City Stadium in Ghana. Yes, of course, this is the last Group D game for the Golden Eaglets, as they are called, after amassing 4 points from 2 games, 1 draw and 1 win. So we are looking to make it 7 points and probably top the group. So it's battle of supremacy between Nigeria and Burkina Faso, who is playing Niger Republic in the other game. So both games are going on simultaneously as we speak, and Friday Joshua will be joining me on the show this morning to look at these and other stories on the program. Friday Joshua, welcome to 360 Sports on Trust TV. As you know, the Golden Eaglets have their hand full as we speak. 5 minutes of action right there at the Accra City Stadium, where the Golden Eaglets are slugging it out with their Togolese counterpart, who have nothing to play for rather than pride in Group B of the Wafubi under-17 tournament.
Yes, good morning, Emmanuel Fashimi. Thank you for having me. It's good to be on the show with you once again. Yes, looking at proceedings at the ongoing Wafubi Championship in Accra, Ghana. Yes, for the Manu Garba-led boys, it is a draw against the Togolese side. We'll see them qualify to the semi-finals of this championship. But of course, you know, after a goalless draw against Burkina Faso and a 1-0 win against Niger Republic, now coming up against Togo, you know, the ability of the team is being questioned at the moment. You know, we used to have our under-17 players who are a free scoring side, but we've not seen that in this championship going on in Accra, Ghana. So far, so good. From 2 games played, they've been able to score just 1. And, you know, that is not good enough for the team. But we are looking forward to a good outing today against the Togolese side. I think, first of all, the target is to qualify to the semi-finals before we start talking of how they are able to score goals at will. But let's keep our fingers crossed, because we just have to concentrate and not lose against Togo this morning for us to advance.
Okay, for us to advance. Now, let's look at this this way. This team actually had little time to prepare, to assemble the players. First, Manu Garba, after he was being given the nod to coach the team, he has to assemble 51 players, and from 51 players it was cut down to the required numbers he wanted to take to the Nations Cup. The MRI test, what have you from Nigeria, CAF, and thank God we passed the MRI test, the CAF own, because the Nigerian own somehow does not count until, even though you passed the NFF MRI test. What if you don't pass that of CAF? That means it's going to be a big challenge. Now, for the little preparation that this team has, do you think they can actually? First of all, we just need to get to the final and win it. But one thing at the back of our mind is that getting the ticket. Do you think they've done enough? Though we just need a draw in this game against Togo to qualify into the next round. But do you think we've done enough with the action, with what we've seen these boys play? Can they progress in this tournament, and can we get the ticket before saying, okay, do you see them winning, defending the title they won in the last edition?
Yes, talking about preparations before this tournament, preparation was not it at all. It was a fire brigade approach. Manu Garba was named just some few days or few weeks some few weeks through the tournament. So he had to assemble 51 players. And of course, there were news that more than half of the players failed MRI test. And of course, that will amount to limiting the number of choices he has to select his boys from. And of course, I think such preparations is what is playing out in our games played so far. Like I said earlier, we were able to score just 1 goal in 2 games. At the under 17 level, where we used to see multiple goals, stream of goals coming in matches, but in just 2 games, we've been able to score just 1. And now against Togo, I think the short-term goal now is for the team to qualify to the semi-finals. They should just take it one step at a time. And, when they get to the semi-final, the target next is to get to the final. When they get to the final, the target is to win it, so that's for them to qualify to the Under-17 World Cup. Then we can be able to put modalities in place to prepare for the World Cup proper. Because it's been a while, we won the Under-17 World Cup. I think the last time was in 2007, and we hosted in 2009 and couldn't win it. We came second, and since then we've not gone anywhere close to the finals. So you see, it's actually a thing of worry for us as Nigerians. There have been rumors that why we used to win it in the past was because we fielded overage players, and now that the MRI is here, we failed to get to even the semi-finals or the finals of the Under-17 FIFA Men's World Cup. But I think that is actually a wake-up call for us. If we want to develop our football, then we must do things the way it should be done. Now, let's take, for instance, in the Macaulay Chris Santos set, he came, I think it was the most valuable player, followed by Jose of Ghana, and then Tony Cruz. Now, fast forward to 2024, Tony Cruz is retiring. You can see, if you have a glimpse of what he has in his gallery, he has won virtually everything a footballer will win, both domestic and international. Now, compare that with that of Jose of Ghana and Macaulay Chris Santos. You can see the disparity. Now, a lot of those players who came to Nigeria to play in the 17 World Cup in 2009, some of them are still playing. They are doing fine. We have we have this former Real Madrid midfielder. I've forgotten his name. A whole lot of them, but you don't see that with our own boys who played in that level of football. And sometimes when they go to Europe, just give them a few months or years, they fizzle out. So I think it's a wake-up call for us to start looking at how we develop our young talent here in Nigeria. Now, after this Under-17, let's say peradventure they qualified for the World Cup. Are we going to see the same set of players, or they'll just wipe out the team and start recruiting new boys? That does not help development of our players. For you to get to the pinnacle of your football, you have to develop your players through stages, so that by the time they get to the senior level, these players are not alien to each other. You already know that, okay, this is my teammate. I know how he plays. I understand his tactics. I know when he's with the ball, whether he's seen me or not. There's this synergy in play when you've been playing with someone over a long period of time. At some level, we all played football, even in our street. Sometimes you choose who you want to play with. That's because you understand how that person play perfectly. You want that person in your team or in your set, as we used to call it. So developmental football is supposed to be a procedural, not just a fire brigade approach. I just hope at the end of the day we qualify. And when we do qualify, these boys should not be discarded. They should be kept in they should keep them in a closed camp where they will monitor their progress ahead of the World Cup. That
Yes,
way, we
ahead.
can get back to our glory days.
Yes, ahead of the World Cup. When you talk about David De Gea, Toni Kroos, Osenia, Cristantus, Macaulay, under the late coach Yemi Teller, that was in 2008, the likes of Kabiru Akisola and co. Where are they now? Where's Cristantus? But we saw De Gea with Manchester United. Toni Kroos is just retiring internationally, and like Friday Joshua said, has won everything when it comes to football, both internationally and club-wise. Champions League winner, and he's on course to add another title, another Champions League medal to his illustrious career. But our own players, where are they? It's a good thing we have the MRI test ready, and now I think we can go that way forward. All right, let's leave that story. Still talking about Nigerian teams, we've talked about the Golden Eaglets, and let's go straight to Egypt and talk about a special team where indeed they are actually special and they are doing special things on a special evening, on a special night, in a special competition. It is the 2024 Amputee AFCON, African Cup of Nations, going on in Egypt, and we are happy. We thank God that the Nigerian Special Eagles have made it through to the quarterfinal. But as it stands, Special Eagles coach, that is talking about Benga Dosemu, predicts tough test against Liberia in today's quarterfinal right there in Cairo. Friday Joshua, this is a special team. We don't like to use disabled players, but definitely they are special team as they are called, and they were able to trash, demolish, and humiliate Burundi, though they are newcomers to the tournament, 11-0 on the evening of their second game, and that propelled them top the group ahead of Egypt, who is also in Group A alongside Nigeria. Now Nigeria tops the group on goal difference, and they have a date with Liberia, who was able to scale through the hurdles, and now in the quarterfinal. Nigeria against Liberia today right there in Cairo.
Yes, that game against Liberia is going to be a tough one, just like Coach Dosemu actually predicted. You see, for Liberia, who are making their debut, and they've not actually shown that in their style of play and in churning out results. For them to get to this level, that means they know the assignment they are embarking on, and they're actually doing it very well. So I think it's good for that. Dosemu actually understand that it's not going to be easy, so it rests on the shoulder of the boys and the coach to ensure that they get that result from this Liberian side. And now, when you talk about motivation for the team, how well is this team motivated? We see the boys when it comes to the able-bodied Super Eagles, let me put it that way, and you don't get to see some of these boys. If, for instance, if not for the fact that we are sports journalists, a lot of people do not even know that an event like this is going on for amputee footballers. So I think the NFF should do well enough to motivate these guys. I think at the end of the day, they need all the support, both from the government, from well-meaning individuals, and from corporate bodies. We just saw what happened at the Indoor Sports Hall of the Package B, talking about the wheelchair basketball. And of course, for the organizer, he called on more support, because if you don't support these guys, you wouldn't know how much they have to offer, how much talent they have in them. So I'll just wish the guys good luck in the tournament, and I hope they triumph at the end of the day, as that is going to be a benchmark for them, setting some of the legacies they will have in that game of amputee football. And also, when the result is out, they will definitely be able to draw some level of support from those who are supposed to support the team.
Yes, of course, they need attention, they need the publicity, they need all the support from the NFF. Well-meaning Nigerians, sports stakeholders need to invest into the amputee team. They have been doing so well in 2019, the 2019 edition. Nigeria came second in Angola, losing the final to Angola in that particular edition. And right now, from the quarter, if they beat Liberia today, about 8 of them will qualify, and they will qualify for the 2026 Putin World Cup, and that is what it has stake. The competition, the trophy is at stake, and also the World Cup ticket is at stake, and that is why we are wishing the Special Eagles to get the World Cup ticket. And even though they don't win the competition, as far as they get to the next round, that will give them automatic qualification to the 2026 Putin FIFA World Cup. All right, let's leave Egypt and come back home quickly. Let's look at the most important league in the land, that is NNL. News coming in from that area, that league, is that now the organizer says have warned the clubs, banned clubs from streaming live game when the Super 8 come calling. The Super 8 is where the winners of the 2023-2024 league season, that is in the NNL, will be determined. 8 teams are into the Super 8 now. Now, organizer says no club should stream games live when the games are ongoing. Friday Joshua, do you think it's a good step coming in from the NNL organizer by banning these teams from streaming their own games when they are playing?
In as much as I want to understand with the management of the Nigeria National League, the most important league in Nigeria, I think they are saying that they are placing that ban because they want to control the kind of information that goes out there to fans all over the world. You see, Nigerian football has not grown to the level where we are most likely not going to see everything go as smoothly as possible. And I think that this is one of the reasons why the NNL has said this Super 8, they ban clubs from streaming their matches live. But on the flip side of the coin, it doesn't speak well of the NNL. You see, most fans will not get the opportunity to travel to Enugu to watch these games, except maybe the NNL will have a platform where they are going to stream these games for those who will not be able to make it to Enugu. But saying that clubs shouldn't stream their game live while it's going on, I think it doesn't speak well. And like I said earlier, if the NNL are going to provide the streaming platform, then I understand, okay, it is the business angle of it. They want everybody to link up with the channel of the NNL, and by extension, that is going to make more money for them. You can imagine the number of traffic. But be that as it may, let's see how it pans out. And of course, the NNL is going to, despite it is going to take place next month, June 7 to 14, 7 days. And we hope at the end of the day, the Abuja-based club, let me speak as an Abuja-based person, talking about Supreme, Sporting Supreme FC, will be able to make it to the MPFL. I think in the MPFL, it is long overdue. We've waited for too long to see an Abuja club in the MPFL, and I hope Sporting Supreme will be able to give us that. It is actually a Herculean task. It is not going to come easy, because you have former MPFL clubs in that Super 8, so it's going to be a battle of the Titans. But we wish them all the best and hope, and I just pray that the best team wins at the end of the day.
Yes, we hope that best team will be Supreme FC of Abuja, where we want to see an Abuja-based team playing in the Nigerian Premier Football League. The senior league last season, it was E.t.c. They couldn't make it out of the Super 8, but this time around we have Supreme FC, who will struggle with the likes of Nasarawa United and Ikorodu City, Madiba FC. All of them are in the Super 8 playoff. That event will kick off June 7 at the Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium in Enugu State. Is a week and is a round-robin format. The team with the highest number of points goes home with the trophy, wins the league, and also wins the ticket to play in the Nigerian Premier Football League. It will come first, second, and third will qualify to play in the Nigerian Premier Football League. We hope and pray, like I said, that we'll have our own Abuja-based Supreme FC playing in the Nigerian Premier Football League. All right, let's leave the NNL and the Super 8 story and quickly go straight to the ministry. Now we'll talk about the National Youth Games. That game was supposed to happen this year, but because we had another one that happened, so we had the game that happened in Delta State. Now it has been confirmed that January will be the time for the National youth games, and the game is titled 2025 Gateway Games. When we say Gateway, you know the state that is called Gateway, that is Ogun State. Now, definitely the ministry have set 12th January for games. Friday, Joshua. Now the date has been fixed, coming in from the ministry, and you know this is an event where talents, young ones, are fished out, are actually scouted to represent Nigeria in various competitions.
Yes, for the 2025 National Sports Festival, that is the Gateway Games. I think setting January for the games is not a bad idea. What a good way to start the year. What a good way and a good time to scout for players and athletes ahead of subsequent tournaments in the course of the 2025 calendar. You know, when that is done in January, I believe players will be scouted and they'll be grooming them ahead of other sporting events that are meant for 2025. And you see, for Delta State, they're talking about Delta 2022, the National Sports Festival. You know, for some sport journalists, it was adjudged one of the best national sports festival hosted in recent times, aside from the Edo 2020 that outshone every other sports festival in recent times. But be that as it may, January 12th, players, athletes are already warming up for that games. And the last time we were in Kano for the Sports Writers Association of Nigeria full council meeting, one of the committee members for the 2025 National Sports Festival, the Gateway Games, actually said for the government, they're actually doing everything in their power to ensure that they give us a befitting National Sports Festival, and they want to look at a possibility of hosting all the athletes in one camp. And now they're looking at some university campus, just like we had in the African Games, where over 90% of athletes and contingent actually stayed at the University of Accra Sports hostel, and you know everything was just domiciled there. So I think that's the blueprint the Ogun State government are actually looking forward to, and we hope that at the end of the day they give us a good representation. Now, for the National Sports Festival, where we come to discover and to discover talent, let these talents be groomed, and let's be able to track some of these athletes. You know, sometimes, like I always say, it's not good enough you organize a competition for young adults and youth. And then after that a tournament, you don't see them again. You don't know their whereabouts, and you know they have been neglected and all of that. You see, it doesn't speak well of our sport. You don't come out of the blues and become a champion. You prepare over the years for it. Check most of the superstars we have today in football, in athletics, wherever. They have a story to tell, how they began, how they continued, how they were being managed by a certain group of persons to ensure that they attain that position where they are today. I think we need to start going through that process in Nigeria. We should take it upon ourselves to grow our talent. That way, we will become what we want to become in the world of sports. We're already a giant when it comes to sports in the world, but I think we can cover more grounds in that aspect.
More grounds and sustain that. That is what it is. The Gateway 2025 games set for January, coming in from the ministry. All right, let's leave the Gateway right about now. Now, before we go, let's quickly have that highlight, the EPL goal of the month highlight that we saw from the beginning of the show. Let's just have some of those goals once again, those breathtaking goals, the like of Giannacho and co. And we will be right back with more stories on the show. But as we're preparing for that particular video, but Friday, do you think Ogun State can stage the best of these games? Because you made mention, no doubt about that, Delta State hosted one of the best games in one of the recent times. Let's say the two states from that region, Edo 2020 and that of Delta State 2022. But do you think Ogun State can surpass, because it's going to be 1 against 2? Do you think they can at least surpass that You mentioned that they are putting everything together to have, like what we saw in the African Games, that the Accra University was used, and all the games were domiciled in that university. Now, Ogun State want to do the same thing, but do you think they can surpass what we saw in Edo State in terms of facility and organization?
Yeah, I think so. So long as the National Sports Festival is not around the corner, they still have ample time to be able to do that. From now till January next year, it's about 9 or 8 months. They can put a lot of things in place. And since they've actually used the African Games, how Accra actually hosted it as a blueprint, I think they have ample time to do that. Let's just give them all the support and ensure that we checkmate some of those things they do as media men. You know, at certain points, the Sport Writers Association will go for facility inspection, and I think it will be good for Nigerian sports and for the Ogun State government if they take to correction. Of course, after facility inspection, the Sport Writers Association of Nigeria, of which you are a member, will come out with a communique to either to do an appraisal of what they've seen so far. And there should be no how do I put it? I think they should come out plain so that sport journalists will be able to criticize them constructively for them to sit up before the game proper. The supervision, the facility inspection is going to come some few months before the National Sports Festival, and that is actually the reason is to help them know what needs to be done and what is yet to be done, and tell the Nigerians how they intend to put those things in place before the National Sports Festival. In Edo, we had issue of and facilities for accommodation, like no running water. In Delta, we had one or two issues too. There is never a perfect competition. There's never a perfect event. But when you strive for perfection, at least you'll be somewhere enviable. Just like we can talk about Edo, we can talk about Delta. Despite some of those lacunas that was being noticed, yet we can still adjudge them to be one of the best. So Ogun State government, they have enough time from now to January 12th to put everything in place.
Okay, let's just quickly have that video, and we'll be right back with more stories on 360 Sports coming to your screen. Yes, welcome back from that video break. We saw the highlight in APL, and quickly we also saw a second video coming to your screen. That is the NWFS Super 6 playoff in Bayelsa State, Yenegua. That is at the Samson Stadium Stadium. We will get to that story, and we'll look at mark the three games, results, and the table, how they are standing. But before we get, we'll have a special important topic to talk about this morning, and we'll be looking at Nigerian chances at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. As it stands, we've gotten our Super Falcons qualify for the women's football. We've gotten D Tigress making it through for basketball, and our athletes, the likes of Toby Amuson, S.A. Brume, Favor of Philly, our relay teams, all of our relay teams, apart from the 4x400 women's relay team who didn't participate at the World Relays in Bahamas, but all of the relay teams and individual athletics event, like 200 meter, 100 meter, the likes of Favor Ashe, we have Ogene, Godson, Brume, and co have made it through in the 100 meters race for men, and then the 100 meters hurdles for women. We have Toby Amuson, the long jump and triple jump, Route to Sorrow, and S.A. Brume are all in there. And also in the weightlifting, wrestling, we have about 6 of our wrestlers who have made it through. Our boxers also are on their way to Paris Olympic Games. So a whole lot Nigerians are qualifying. Also in table tennis, Aruna Kadri and co are also going to Paris Olympic Games. Friday, Joshua, quickly, I listed some of the sports we've already qualified in the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. What are our chances? The best outing we had since we started attending Olympics was in Atlanta '96, where Choma and Jua gave us that gold medal, and ever since then we've not been able to get anything called gold. In 2008, that was in Beijing, China, where we won bronze. That is the football event. Samson Siasia was in charge then. And then in Tokyo 2020, we saw what happened. We couldn't really, only Esebrume and co in wrestling, and then in long jump, that was where we were able to get medals in Tokyo 2020. But it's looking good for us in Paris, because I believe in athletics, definitely we have sure medal in athletics.
Yes, going into the Paris 2024 Olympics, we are hopeful because we have the likes of Oluwatobiloba Amusan, we have the likes of Esebrume, and let's not forget weightlifting or powerlifting, as the case may be. We are actually a stronghold when it comes to that. So it's all good. It's looking bright for Team Nigeria going into the Paris 2024 Olympics. The Paris 2024 Olympics is just some few weeks away, and we've qualified for several disciplines. And of course, when it comes to athletics, be rest assured that we'll at least get a gold or two. And, for those who are actually medal prospects, that no assurance, but they are actually a prospect, I think they should begin to work assiduously to ensure that they put themselves in top shape and, get their minds in the right order for these games, as a whole lot of Nigerians are looking forward to seeing us surpass what we did in Tokyo 2020. Now, our D-Tigers are back to the Olympics. That is actually a good one. We have also the Sport Falcons of Nigeria, who are also back to the Olympics. Want to see ourselves do well in this Olympics. And don't forget that aside from athletics, so long as you've qualified in football events, I think football is the toast of sports when it comes comes to Nigeria. So the responsibility lies solely on the shoulder of the Super Falcons of Nigeria. When the football team does not perform well, it takes the shine off all other sports, whether they are winning gold or not. A lot of Nigerians don't want to know. But so long as we are doing well in football, you see a lot of Nigerians still waking up daily, or even if it's night, to watch these games. So I think the sports ministry have done well, giving enough support for all Team Nigeria contingent, and I think more needs to be done. What Sunday Diary did, the Adopt an Athlete initiative, I think the ministry should take a clue from that and see how they get corporate bodies to sponsor some of these individual talents in individual sports that is going to the Paris 2024 Olympics, as the government cannot do it on their own. So I think it is one initiative that I love in the past administration of the past minister. Among everything he did, that was the high point for me. And, it actually yielded result. And I hope Senator John Owen Eno will follow suit, or maybe just expand the scope of that Adopt an Athlete initiative that did us a whole lot of good in Tokyo 2020. As this is not 2020, this is 2024. You definitely want to improve on what you've done in the past. So I think the ministry should be able to draw out a plan on how to motivate these athletes going into Paris 2024.
Okay, let's pick athletics. Let's pick athletics now. Our Nigerians are making record. Favor Fili, the fastest woman in 150-meter event. Toby Amuson in 100-meter hurdles, the fastest woman this year, after running 12.40 seconds at the Jamaica Invitational just 3 weeks ago. Before she came second at the Atlanta City Games. And we have Favor Ashe, who's also leading. Next, Brumen, the fastest time in the men's 100 meters this year, alongside Noah Lyles and co. Now, athletics this year looks in my own opinion, looks very ready for the Paris Olympic Games. So I don't know if you are also seeing what I'm saying in that sport. What I think the Athletics Federation of Nigeria should help these guys now to achieve that goal at the Paris Games.
Yes, that's why I said motivation is key. Olympics and start hearing some kind of complaints that are not supposed to be. If you recall what happened in Tokyo 2020, where some athletes came out to say even their kit was not ready. And we saw some kind of slight protests from the athletes. That shouldn't be in 2024. We've already had to get us at least a silver medal. Talk about Tobiloba Amuson, talk about Ese Brume, talk about some of these guys. And don't forget the 4x400 meters mixed relay team that in a tournament.
Okay, it's as if we lost communication there with Friday Joshua. If you can hear us, join us back because we are really looking at the Paris Olympic Games where Nigeria definitely, well, I believe Nigerians are expecting us to do well and surpass the best outing we ever had at the Olympics. That was in Atlanta 1996 where we won football gold, Choma Juwan also winning the gold medal in that event. So let's see what is going to happen. This time around, we don't have the male football, but we have Super Falcons who will be representing the continent when it comes to women's football event at the Paris Games. So this whole lot and many more, we are looking at Nigerian, the athletes who will be going favor share. That is, we have Favor organized in Brume, we have Sheyi Ogunlewe, and then the 4x100 meter relay mixed team. We have our mixed team there, being anchored by Chidi Okeze, who we are expecting that they also do well when it comes to the relay event in Paris Games. So these are a whole lot more. Then we have our D-Tigress, who will be participating in the women's basketball. So these are what we are looking at. We also have weightlifting, wrestling, Adekuroye, Blessing Oburu Dudu, Mercy Genesis, Helen Ruben and co. Every one of them, I think they are ready to take the Paris Games by storm. So definitely we will maybe have some gold medal in the Paris Games. All right, if Friday Joshua joins us back, we'll just hear Friday Joshua, quickly just wrap up the Paris Games. Like we're looking at athletics, and you made mention of Tobiloba Amuson, Toby Express as she is called. So I believe in athletics we should be expecting where I cannot say gold, I cannot say silver, bronze, but I know we are sure to get a medal in athletics and wrestling.
Yes, like I said earlier, we have some of our athletes in pole position to win gold. So what we just need to do is ensure that these athletes are well taken care of. There should not be issue of kits and all of that. There should not be issue of allowances and all of that going into this Paris 2024. No, I made a reference to Tokyo 2020 where we had some kind of issue with our kit management and all of that. Those things shouldn't play out in this 2024 if we must maintain our psychological states going into this tournament. So it's looking all bright when it comes to athletics and wrestling and powerlifting as well. So what they need to do is just ensure that everything are in place. We have a few weeks, so I think by now preparations for logistics and all of that, talking about it, should be rounding up by now. We don't want a situation whereby it is 2 weeks to the tournament and we are still hearing series of complaints of not being ready, kits not being ready and all of that. You know, things like that actually dislodge the concentration of some of these athletes.
Okay, things like that actually dislodge the concentration of some of these athletes. But as it stands, the sports ministry, I believe they can hear you, Friday Joshua. Early preparation, and that is what Senator John Waneno has earlier proposed, that Nigeria is going to prepare early enough for the Paris Games. All right, let's leave that quickly and go straight to Yenegua. It was match day 3 in the Nigerian Women's Football League Super 6 playoff, where the champions for the league season will be determined. They will play in a round-robin game. 6 teams playing in a round-robin format, match day 1, match day 2, and yesterday it was match day 3. Let's go look at the results of match day 3. We have Do Queens, after the loss to Rivers Angels in their second game, were able to bounce back from that defeat, and they got the win they actually needed to at least to give themselves a chance to see if they can lift the title. They beat Heartland Queens Newcomer 3-1. Bayelsa Queens also, who are the host team right now, they've not lost a game. They defeated Confluence Queen 2-0 in that particular encounter. And then the last game of the day saw Nasarawa Amazons and Rivers Angels playing out a goalless draw. Let's quickly look at the table so that we'll see how the teams are standing. And as it stands after match day 3, match day 3, Bayelsa Queens tops the table. Match day 3 with 7 points plus 3 goal difference. We have Edo Queens. On match day 1, they trashed Confluence Queens 5-0 in that game, and now they are second with 6 points, having won 2 games and lost 1. They have plus 5 points, and then we have Rivers Angels also have 5 points. Edo Queens have 6 points. Rivers Angels have 5 points plus 1, and then Conference Queens have 3 points minus 4 goal difference. Nasarawa Amazons have 2 points minus 1 goal difference, and Heartland Queens Newcomer have 1 point and minus 4 goal difference, occupying the bottom of the table. They've played 3 games and we still have 3 more games. Which team wins the league? Friday, Joshua, quickly, do you think Bayelsa Queens, who are the host state, can sustain this momentum and win? They won this particular title 2 seasons ago. Do you think they can win it again and wrestle it back from Delta Queens, who didn't qualify for the Super 6?
Yes, for Bayelsa Queens, I think they still got it in them, and you can see that the result is coming out in their favor, knowing fully well that they are on home soil, they will get home support, they are familiar with the terrain, and that is one of those things that influence the result so far, apart from the fact that they are good. And one thing that is glaring at the moment is that the NWFL for this season is definitely going to stay in the South, having Edo Queens, Bayelsa Queens, and Rivers Angels in the top 3. So the title is between these 3. Talking about Rivers Angels, they started off on a good note, but just yesterday, Bayelsa Queens actually move to the top of the NWFL, and particularly Edo Queens, they are doing well for themselves. So I think for Bayelsa Queens, they stand in a very bright position to actually win this title. Like I said earlier, they are on home soil, they'll get home support, they're familiar with the terrain, and result is coming out for them. And with 3 games gone already, it's remaining just 2 games, and all they need to do is maybe at least just get 4 points from those possible 6 points that is remaining, and they are through, and they will be crowned champions of the 2024 NWFL, and that is by extension. They are going to be the ones to represent us at the CAF Women's Champions League. Are they prepared for that? It is not enough to be a local champion here, to win the league here. What we want is beyond the league. How can you represent us when it comes to the CAF Women's Champions League? We've seen Rivers Angels represented us, and and we saw the result, and we were particularly impressed with them, but their best wasn't good enough, but we were okay with that. But going forward, what it means is that the next team that is going to take over that battle should do it more than the previous Gladiator actually did it. So as they are setting their minds on winning the NWFL, they should set their mind as well that they are representing the whole of NWFL in the CAF Women's Champions League.
Okay, yes, definitely. Let's leave that story and go straight. There were some games in the Federations Cup. That is the President Federations Cup, as is christened. Let's look at those results quickly. Let's just read out some of those results from the Federations Cup. We have FC1 Rocket lost to Enyimba. Mboma getting the long goal in that game, 1-0 in favor of Enyimba International. Shooting Stars of Ibadan beat Lobby Stars 2-0. Sunshine Stars of Akure and Plateau United played the 1-1 draw, and for Sunshine Stars they beat Plateau 4-3 on penalties. The same margin, Hamola FC of Oshun against Inter Lagos, it was 4-1 via penalties in favor of Inter Lagos. And Katsina United lost to Bayelsa United 1-0. Warriors 0, Kara United 1, and Nasarawa United lost to Sokoto United 1, and Doma United also were beaten by Kano Pillars. All right, before we go quickly, Friday, Joshua, because we are out of time, let's go straight to Europe. Ademola Lookman did the magic last night against a team 51 matches unbeaten, and it was broken within space. In the 12th minute of that game, the first goal came in from Ademola Lookman's boot. In
the Europa League final, and also the first African player to score 3 goals in major UEFA competition. You see, it's actually a good one. He has set himself on the world map, and I hope by next season he is going to continue in that stead, because continuity is key to maintaining your position when it comes to one of the elite footballers. He has gotten into the elite with this kind of performance. He has gotten into the searchlight, and now going into next season, time since Diego Maradona. Whether they like it or not, he has become a legend in Napoli. This season, we saw Victor Boniface lead Bayern Leverkusen unbeaten to the Bundesliga, ending Bayern Munich's reign in the Bundesliga. And they didn't just win it; they did it for the first time in their over 160 years history. Whether they like it or not, Victor Boniface is now a legend in Bayer Leverkusen, and Ademola Lookman is also doing his own. So for Nigerian footballers, they are doing well all over. We have Wilfred Ndidi and Kelechi Iheanacho, who helped Leicester City win the championship, and they are back to the EPL. For Troost Ekong in Greece, he actually won his own league as well. So good things to come for the Spriggles of Nigeria, and we hope that all these good results translate to the World Cup qualifiers, because anything short of qualification, they have failed woefully.
Yes, anything short of qualification, they have failed woefully. And congratulations to Victor Boniface, Nathan Teller, and most of them all is Ademola Lookman for putting out that 100% performance for Atlanta against a team that have not lost any game in Europe this season. 51 games unbeaten. They were on course to make it 52, but Ademola Lookman said no, and it was 3 against them. And all right, that is the size of the show this morning. Friday, Joshua, thanks for joining me on the show. It's good having you on the program, 360 Sports.
Always my pleasure.
Program. I am Emmanuel Fashimi. Say thanks for watching.